When you find yourself in a difficult situation, sometimes it can almost seem impossible to climb your way out, but often the hardest part is making the decision that it's time to make a change.
Yeah, Alicia Baker realized that anything was better than staying where she was, for her and for her children. She's proof that we're stronger than we think.
As someone close to me would always say, no one can stop you but you.
And these days, no one is stopping Alicia Baker. She loves being behind the wheel. She knows where she's headed, and she keeps her eyes on the road. She handles her life the same way and says you can't spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror.
If you sit down and you dwell on what you've been through, you're never going to accomplish anything at all.
For many years, Alicia wasn't in control of her own life. She was in an abusive relationship with the father of her children. She says he was violent and controlling, and he was also victimizing another family member who didn't live with them. Alicia worried that he would start hurting her kids.
It was just more of, okay, a lot of soul searching within me. Do you want to stay in this situation and let your kids go through this? And then on top of that, if this person can do something to someone in your family, what would they do to you and yours? And I think that was my more of, I gotta go. And that's what I did, I left.
Alicia planned out how she would leave. She called Turning Point, a shelter for victims of domestic violence. She used their website and their crisis hotline. Once she left, she called Lighthouse Path, which provides help with housing and support services for women and children who are victims of domestic violence. She called them every single day. What was Alicia like when you first met her?
Scared, crying, unsure, head down, try to do the body language.
Caseworker Scott Heron helped Alicia figure things out one step at a time. First, a place to live, then food and clothing for her kids, and then a job.
He helped me not sit on my butt and feel sorry for myself. That's what he helped me do. And it was like, okay, I'm gonna give you this swift kick in your butt, but hey, we gotta get this going. You got all these kids over here, what you about to do?
So what she did was get her commercial driver's license, and that opened up all kinds of opportunities. She's currently holding down 3 jobs as a driver. She loves it, and she's impressing everyone who knows her.
I wish I had 10 more like her, so when this business takes off, we'll definitely be looking for more people like her.
She's amazing. She's my hero. She is my hero, and just sitting back watching her.
Someone else who's watching? Alicia's 6 children. They're proud of her and are very grateful for all she does.
Our main priority is to get good grades in school so we can do something with our lives. Some other parents might not care about that, but yeah, my mom's different.
I love her very much. She's a very caring person, and I'll do anything for her, and I know she'll do stuff for me too.
Alicia is happy with the life she's building for herself and her kids. It hasn't been easy, but she knows she's a role model for them and for other people. She wants them to know that if you take the wheel, you can direct your own life and follow the road that's best for you.
You take one day at a time, one accomplishment at a time, no matter how small, one accomplishment at a time. And you can do anything, I promise.
Alicia is excited about the future. She plans to go back to school and then college, and says someday she'd like to open a youth home.
If you've ever been a patient in the hospital, you know it can be tough both physically and mentally. A Dearborn Heights woman watched the struggle her best friend was going through and vowed to make a difference. Here's Fox 2's Taryn Asher.
I just remember thinking when doctors and nurses were around her and she was getting, hooked up to ventilators, where is my friend?
In 2009, Jacqueline Costanis' best friend, Brooke Bali, was diagnosed with an aggressive form of esophageal cancer. Complications led to the amputation of her leg. But Jacqueline found a simple way to help.
She was so internally beautiful, and that's how she connected to people. She was a hairdresser herself, and everything was stripped. Her identity had disappeared. And I just kept thinking, if you can't get to the salon, Brooke, the salon's gonna come to you.
Jacqueline began pampering her friend during her hospital stays. The change evident almost immediately.
It gives me goosebumps because it gave her life again. Like seeing what she looked like, not so much as a patient anymore, and being excited to see people again, her spirits, they changed.
Sadly, Brooke would eventually lose her battle with cancer, but watching what a little pampering did for her best friend during the remainder of her life inspired Jacqueline to create Simply from the Heart.
Hi. We're the Glam Squad.
Volunteers visit patients of all ages in the hospital and offer to do their hair, makeup, nails, massage, and facials, helping them feel as beautiful on the outside as they are on the inside. Like 11-year-old Abby Cornell from Clarkston, who has spent the last week in Royal Oaks Beaumont Hospital.
It's been really hard because I had to be on bed rest and I wasn't really allowed to move around a lot. So just these girls coming in here and doing this, it means so much.
This is amazing because she's been so sad and very bored because she can't really get in and out of bed and stuff because of her heart rate and stuff like that. So it's been really nice.
17-year-old Teresa O'Connor, who has spent the last month in the hospital fighting leukemia, says a visit from these cheerful pink ladies makes her feel more like herself.
I wasn't sure about it at first, but then I went down and I started talking to all of them and they did my nails, and it was just a really nice opportunity and nice people to talk to. Mm-hmm. And you feel pretty when you don't have your hair necessarily. You feel pretty getting other things, done on you.
For just a little while, the patients are free from a sterile setting and painful treatments and feel like they are being treated in a salon. They even get a free glam box stocked with beauty products. Jacqueline started this foundation 5 years ago with her own money. Since then, Jacqueline and her team of almost 100 volunteers offer this caring concierge service at hospitals in 4 different states. And when people see how a little love and care empowers patients like Abby,
I look like if Princess Leia went to a fashion show and wow. I love it. Good. Thank you guys so much.
They want to do what they can to help.
My tears have become joy because the family members becomes a safe, happy zone for them. They're able to walk out and just take a shower and take a breath because, I can't tell you how many moms and dads look at me and with tears. They just look and say, I have not seen my kids smile like this in so long.
That was Fox 2's Taryn Asher. Simply from the Heart is all possible thanks to product donations and caring volunteers.
They're members of what's called the Greatest Generation, those who fought in World War II. Now a local man is working to make sure their stories live on. What started as an idea at the Independence Village home in Brighton is now spanning 3 states. Fox 2's Roop Raj has more.
We set up some bullet dyes in the glass plant.
When you hear the history from 95-year-old World War II veteran Henry McMillan, you can't help but take pause. His journey began here at home at Ford Motor Company, where he helped prepare the country for war, and then he joined the Air Force. He survived, but the war came with a price.
I had a letter from my brother, who was shortly afterwards killed.
Mr. McMillan's story is on this wall. It's heroism and valor that won't ever be forgotten. That's the idea behind the wall at Independence Village in Brighton.
He was trained to use radar, and the Motorola company made him an expert cryptologist.
The man who has written well over 500 of these stories is Sean Tracy.
Born in Elwood City, Pennsylvania on March 18, 1935, Susan was allowed to enlist until her sister returned home from overseas.
Is to interview elderly veterans at 20 of these retirement homes across the Midwest.
There's one resident here who actually witnessed 26 atomic bomb tests and 1 hydrogen bomb test. And when he had told me that, I just about fell over.
He's talking about veteran Richard Lurvey.
We'd get up every morning for the atomic bombs, put on high-density goggles. They'd tow barges out to sea, and then they'd blast it off and say, okay, face away. You can turn around, face it in, and go back to bed.
As the stories sit on the wall, every veteran then gets a model that Sean makes corresponding with the type of service each veteran was enrolled in.
He's building a model of an M47 tank because he knew I was a tank mechanic in the Marine Corps, okay? And I'm just waiting to see that model of the tank when he gets it finished.
Sean is working on it. He does it for a simple reason. When men and women who gave so much of their lives are ready for their golden years in facilities like this, he wants them to know that even after they're gone, they won't be forgotten.
They gave you and I the right to speak what we think, to feel what we feel, to praise whatever God we want to worship. They gave us the freedom that we have now.
Read the stories of these other veterans because I'm in awe of some of these guys. There's a lot of veterans ahead of me that may be more deserving than a good interview, but it was humbling.
It's my thank you gift to them for what they did for us.
And yes, for all of the veterans who have passed, he's even put together a book filled with their stories as well at each and every community to make sure that we never will forget. In Brighton, Ruparaj, Fox 2 News.
The power of music is the power to unite. In these divisive times, it's one of the few things that brings us together.
The musicians you're about to meet have a deeply personal understanding of that, and they're sharing their story, our human story, through common chords. Here's Fox 2's Amy Lang.
Sowing on the mountain, reaping in the valley.
Robert Jones and Matt Watroba have been making music for more than 30 years. The best friends perform everywhere from elementary schools to senior centers. For preschoolers and prisoners, it's music that matters.
We celebrate diversity. We celebrate this idea that America would not be the America that we know and love without all of the people, all of the cultures that feed into it.
And even though the program we do for kids as well as adults is all about the celebration of diversity, we never mention that word once because I think they see it. They see it in our 30-year friendship. They see it in our love for each other as friends over the years.
They celebrate diversity because they are diversity, black and white, from the inner city and the suburbs, but always striking a common chord in music.
There's something about the universal language of music that connects. It very rarely divides. It gets to the heart of what's real and what makes us alike.
And that commonality is at the heart of their nonprofit, Common Chords, and their programs like Music That Matters, taking kids and adults on a journey through history via some of America's most beloved music.
We shall overcome.
Like We Shall Overcome, a song that changed and traveled all over the world, starting as a black spiritual, becoming a union song, and then an anthem for the civil rights movement, and so many since.
Something about seeing 400 kids crossing arms and singing We Shall Overcome is a good feeling for us to see that carried on.
Utilizing the power of roots music has a lot to teach us about who we are and where we've come from.
The artists remind us that music has always sustained us through the best and worst of times. We use it to marry and to bury and all the moments in between. Robert was recently awarded a Kresge Fellowship. Matt was just inducted into the International Folk DJ Hall of Fame. And Common Chords is their passion.
The chord is a perfect metaphor because a chord means more than one note coming together in harmony.
Building bridges through art and music everywhere and hopefully inspiring other musicians along the way.
We've got to communicate to that audience, those little weird kids who we were those little weird kids 30 years ago, that there's a place for you in American music.
If you're a musician, a young musician who loves playing their own songs at a coffee house, Robert and I will encourage them to put a school program together. Think about how you can bring this to seniors. Think about how you can take the music where it's needed most.
I do believe.
Because maybe it's music itself that matters most right now to remind us how much we truly have in common.
And that's why we're a good team.
I think so.
Yep.
Seemed like a pretty good song.
That was Fox 2's Amy Lang, who tells us they have a new album out called, you guessed it, Common Chords.
We'll be right back. But first, you too can make a difference with a copy of our giving guide. You can get one at any Gardner-White.